Okay, good evening, Mayor Middleton and members of City Council. I'm Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director. Along with me is
Chris Myers, General Services Department. Excuse me.
and we have a really fun and exciting agenda item to present to you this evening. It's a culmination of council direction that originated at our latest strategic planning retreat on May 10th. City Council gave staff a goal to present to you for consideration a proposal to purchase and outfit a Citrus Heights block party trailer available to community groups to rent, stocked with essentials to host events. And as background for the public, this specific goal is a part of a larger community goal that has been set via a strategic work plan memo that will be implemented over the course of the next 2 years. In total, it has 4 categories, and this goal in particular is directly related to the second category, which is to increase community connection here at the City of Citrus Heights. As we emerge from COVID-19 and public health orders, we know our residents and community champions are really hungry to come back together. So staff brainstormed ideas on how we would be able to do that and received this goal from City Council and have been very enthusiastic to work on it. At May 26th, City Council received a presentation on plans for the community block party trailer scope. And on June 23rd, there was a budget update to allocate $50,000 of American Rescue Plan Act funding for project implementation, which means we were off to the races to be able to procure everything needed to be able to make this exciting project happen. And here are the results so far.
The block party trailer will be available to rent for neighborhood associations and community groups to host neighborhood events. The block party trailer will come stocked with all the essentials to host a neighborhood block party, including tables, chairs, coolers, barricades, cones, lawn games, a Bluetooth small sound system, trash receptacles, and quite a few other items as well.
So I want to take a quick minute to expand on the definition of community groups. There are a plethora of really important community groups in Citrus Heights that make up our community fabric. You heard earlier from our neighborhood associations as well as REACH, their governing body. We also have our Connect Citrus Heights group, whose creation was a strategic goal, and it is the entire depth and breadth of community groups. So everything from religious organizations to amateur sports organizations to our Chamber of Commerce and business associations. The list goes on and on. So a great goal that will be achieved with the implementation of this project is to give them both the figurative and literal means to increase community connection and provide ready infrastructure. So hypothetically, on this day next year, Neighborhood Association 5 could host a national banana split party. So the action item before you this evening is to review and consider approval of the program guidelines. Staff did extensive research on other jurisdiction programs really across the nation to make sure we were designing just right for our community and our intentions. So for eligibility, as I mentioned, this will be available to Citrus Heights neighborhood associations and community groups and other similar groups who are registered with our community engagement team. This will be the first program rolled out of our community engagement portion of the Economic Development and Community Engagement Department. As I mentioned, the definition of community group, our intention is to make it as wide as possible. In terms of eligibility, individual residents and businesses would not be eligible to reserve because the intention really is to bring community groups together, not make this available for private events.
May I ask a question about that?
Absolutely.
So what if a a neighborhood watch group, which are all private volunteer citizens, or a group of neighbors within a development wanted to host an event for all of their neighbors, so they're individuals, but if they came together as a group to do it, could they do it?
Yes, we would figure out how to register them as a subgroup, hopefully, of a neighborhood association. That really pulls through the thread of this program creating value for neighborhood associations to come and work together.
Well, I'm not talking about the formal neighborhood associations. I'm talking about a group of neighbors who wanted to host a neighborhood event for their development. Let's just say there's 100 homes in it. But they're not an HOA, they're just people.
Sure.
They wanted to come together to achieve the very thing this is for, which is to bring out their neighbors, get to know each other, and have a barbecue or whatever.
Absolutely.
Could they do that?
Yes.
Okay.
We would figure out how to make that happen, and we can talk through that, what that would look like a little bit more in the application process to give you a better idea of the functionality of the program. So, and Chris, I have 1 through 5, right? To reserve the trailer, reservations would be based on availability and on a first-come, first-served basis. We would like to give preference to groups who are reserving for the first time to make sure we're catalyzing new community connection. And we ask that reservations be made no sooner than 6 months in advance to the event and no later than 2 weeks before the event, because whether we like it or not, there is some paperwork to be done and we have to make time for it. The reservation process begins once the application is submitted to community engagement, and we'd ask that it be received no less than 30 days prior to the event date. So the process, and Councilmember Bruins, hopefully this can answer that question a little more here. To begin, an interested party would complete the block party trailer application and submit it to community engagement, and we'll register that organization or group and confirm the dates available and arrange a drop-off and pickup time and location. Now, the next step will be for these applicants to complete a rental agreement and program waiver, including proof of insurance information. The community group or individual representing a community group can utilize their own event insurance, providing it meets minimum policy requirements, or they can utilize the event insurance that is offered through the city as well, which is a great resource. Event insurance requirements will vary based on the location of the event. So the main differentiator there is if we're hosting an event on public or private property, what we would be looking for in an application, Councilmember Bruins, to answer your question, if it is an individual in a neighborhood wanting to host a block party, we would be looking for that to be in a public location. So they would file for a street closure permit to host a classic version of a block party, and we would make sure that gets through. If it's private property, a good example of that would be, let's say folks come together and want to have a taco extravaganza in a commercial surplus parking lot right outside their neighborhood, and they get that property owner's approval. That would be on private property, which would require a different style of event insurance and that property owner's approval. So the process of approval will look a little bit like a flow chart, and we'll design that to make sure it's very clear for applicants, and the management analyst with community engagement will liaison with the applicant the entire time to make it as simple a process as possible. Does that answer your question, Councilmember Bruins? Okay, fantastic. So as I mentioned, depending on the location, there would be applicable permits. Public locations would require a street closure permit. Varied locations could require also a temporary use permit. We would make sure that's very clear in the program materials, which would be very smartly branded as well.
Okay, trailer deliveries and pickup would only occur during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, at a pre-approved location. The applicant must be over 21. An applicant over 21 must be present at the time of the drop-off for orientation and pickup for inspection. Applicant may not relocate or move the trailer at any time. A city employee will pick up the block party trailer during an agreed-upon time window on a Monday morning following the neighborhood event.
So as I mentioned, the Community Block Party Trailer Program will be the first community engagement program rolled out of the newly formed Economic Development and Community Engagement Department. Program launch is anticipated in the fourth quarter of this year, and that's really related to the fact that a management analyst position is currently open, and that role will administer the registration and reservations process. Our communications officer will assist with program branding and regular promotion. And I really want to take a moment to recognize my colleague, Chris Myers, because facilities department will be facilitating and coordinating deliveries and pickups, which is a significant part of this program as well. So it truly is a shared lift and exciting to offer from all departments.